In his 1978 book Soul on Fire, Cleaver made several claims regarding his exile in Algeria, including that he was supported by regular stipends from the government of North Vietnam, which the United States was then bombing. Cleaver stated that he was followed by other former criminals turned revolutionaries, many of whom, including Booth and Smith, hijacked planes to get to Algeria. Eldridge Cleaver and Huey Newton eventually had a disagreement over the necessity of armed struggle as a response to COINTELPRO and other actions by the government against the Black Panthers and other radical groups, which led to Cleaver's eventual expulsion from the BPP. Also, Cleaver's interest in North Korea and global anti-imperialist struggle drew ire from other BPP members who felt that he was neglecting the needs of African Americans at home in the U.S. Following his expulsion from the Black Panthers in 1971, the group's ties with North Korea were quickly forgotten. Cleaver advocated the escalation of armed resistance into urban guerrilla warfare, while Newton suggested the best way to respond was to put down the gun, which he felt alienated the Panthers from the rest of the black community, and focus on more pragmatic reformist activity by lobbying for increased social programs to aid African American communities and anti-discrimination laws. Cleaver accused Newton of being an Uncle Tom for choosing to cooperate with white interests rather than overthrow them. Cleaver left Algeria in 1972, moving to Paris, France, becoming a born-again Christian during time in isolation living underground. He turned his hand to fashion design. 3 years later, he released Codpiece Revival, Virility Pants, he called, the Cleavers, enthusing that they would give men a chance to assert their masculinity. Cleaver returned to the United States in 1975 to face the unresolved attempted murder charge. By September 1978, on bail as the proceedings dragged on, he had incorporated Eldridge Cleaver Limited, running a factory and West Hollywood shop exploiting his cleavers, which he claimed liberated men from penis binding. He saw no conflict between this and his newfound Christianity, drawing support for his overtly sexual design from 22 Deuteronomy. The long outstanding charge was subsequently resolved on a plea bargain reducing it to assault. A sentence of 1,200 hours community service was imposed. In the early 1980s, Cleaver became disillusioned with what he saw as the commercial nature of evangelical Christianity and examined alternatives, including Sun Myung Moon's campus ministry organization CARP. He was also Catholic for a time. He later led a short-lived revivalist ministry called Eldridge Cleaver Crusades, a hybrid synthesis of Islam and Christianity he called Christlam, along with an auxiliary called the Guardians of the Sperm. Cleaver was then baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS Church, on December 11, 1983. He periodically attended regular services and lectured by invitation at LDS gatherings. By the 1980s, Cleaver had become a conservative Republican. He appeared at various Republican events and spoke at a California Republican State Central Committee meeting regarding his political transformation. In 1984, he ran for election to the Berkeley City Council but lost. Undaunted, he promoted his candidacy in the Republican Party primary for the 1986 Senate race but was again defeated. The next year, his 20-year marriage to Kathleen Neal Cleaver came to an end. In 1988, Cleaver was placed on probation for burglary and was briefly jailed later in the year after testing positive for cocaine. He entered drug rehabilitation for a stated crack cocaine addiction 2 years later, but was arrested for possession by Oakland and Berkeley police in 1992 and 1994. Shortly after his final arrest, he moved to Southern California, falling into poor health. Cleaver died of prostate cancer at age 62 on May 1, 1998, at Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center in Pomona, California. He is buried at Mountain View Cemetery in Altadena, California.